Calvary Kids, and welcome back to our second weekly devotional. This week we're going to be talking about Gideon. Gideon's story is found in the book of Judges in chapters 6 to 8. So, the Israelites were disobedient to God. Nothing new. And because of this, God let them be controlled by this other group called the Midianites. So, the Israelites were begging God to help them because the Midianites were in control and they didn't like it. So he sent them a prophet, and this prophet's name was Gideon. An angel came to Gideon, and he had a message. And Gideon was really confused. He was asking the angel questions like, why is God letting all this bad stuff happen? And is God abandon us? So, have you ever asked questions like that? I know sometimes it's hard when we're going through hard times. We think maybe God isn't with us anymore, and we don't understand why all this bad stuff is happening. But Gideon was in the exact same boat. God told Gideon that he was going to save Israel because God was sending him. Gideon could not believe this. He was the runt of the family, and his clan was the weakest. How could God use him? But God told Gideon that he would be with him, and that's how Gideon would be successful. The Israelites were worshiping idols at that time, so the first thing that Gideon did was in the middle of the night, he destroyed the altar that was meant for the false gods. And instead, he built an altar to God. The Israelites were really, really angry with Gideon because when they found out, they wanted to kill him. They were so upset that he destroyed their altars. All the armies that were against the Israelites, they all joined together, and they came to attack the Israelites. Gideon, he was filled with the Holy Spirit, and he prepared to go to war against them. Gideon asked God for 2 signs that he was with Gideon, and he sent those signs, and in the morning, Gideon prepared to go to battle with the Lord on his side because he knew God was with him because God showed him these signs that he asked for. Gideon had a huge army, but God told him that he had too many men, and if they won, that they would think it was because they had so many men, not because God was with them. So God whittled down his army to a mere 300 guys, and he said, even though you have so few people in your army, so few soldiers, you're going to win because I'm on your side. So Gideon took those few guys, even though he had a small army, and he gave all of them a trumpet and a torch, and he gave them these empty glass jars. So when Gideon gave his army a sign, like a cue, they smashed the jars and they blew their trumpets and they held up their torches and they yelled, "For Gideon and for the Lord." And their enemies, all of a sudden, they turned on each other and Gideon's army won, and they didn't even have to fight because God was with them. Isn't that amazing? So what can we learn from this story? Gideon couldn't believe that God would use him. He was weak, and he had a weak family, and he was the least of all the clans. But God can use anyone. God filled him with the Holy Spirit, and as soon as he did that, he was strong, even though he may have been physically weak. Gideon was also asking really tough questions. He didn't understand what God was doing, and he even doubted that God was there for the Israelites. Sometimes when we go through challenges like this, we forget that God is always with us. But God showed that he was with Gideon, and that we can have faith because he's with us too. Even when we're going through challenges and we're kind of doubting God and we're confused, we can rest assured that God is with us. So our memory verse for this week is found in Judges 6:16, and it's just going to be the first part of that verse, and it's this: Gideon, the Lord answered, "You can rescue Israel because I'm going to help you." So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would love to see your memory verses. If you could send me a video of you doing your memory verse, and I'd love to see pictures of your crafts. I'm not very artistic, so I'm sure you guys are going to be way better than I am. And I would just love to see what you guys are up to. If you have any prayer requests or anything like that, just want to give me a shout and say hello, you can email me, amanda@calvarygospel.ca, and I would love to hear from you guys. I miss you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.